My name's Jordan, and we are here today to talk about our vision for the future of abortion access. Because as young people, we have every right to be a part of the conversation, and I'm excited to get into it with you guys and talk about some stuff. I know for the past year or so, I've been doing a lot of different work with a lot of different organizations on abortion access for young people. I would love to hear the work that you guys have been doing.
Well, I'll start off on my fund. I am a co-funder for Mississippi Reproductive Freedom Fund. We also have a fund house. We started having a fund house. We accept any choice. We help you fund for your abortion. We help you if you want to keep your child. We help you with free diapers, a free pantry. We got a free bookshelf. It's like if you need some place to stay while you're out of town, we help you with that. So it's just something more affordable and help you to get some of that weight off.
I have been working to help end the stigma around abortion by actually sharing my story. I think that has a lot of power because I have found that when I have shared my story, a lot of people come up to me and tell me, I can relate with what you're saying. I actually have some of the same issues that you have. You're so brave for saying it. So the fact that I get to talk with people and kind of let them know, hey, abortion is normal. Abortion is quite a normal thing, and we don't have to feel ashamed about it. We could talk about it openly, and we could come forward with it, is what I have been mostly working on. I also try to become a person that talks about abortion regularly with my friends so that if there is somebody that needs help getting abortion access, they could feel free and ask me questions, and hopefully I can connect them with some supportive group with their decision making.
For the past couple of years, I've been working with my local abortion fund. It's called Clinic Access Support Network in Houston, and we do what's called practical support. So there are abortion funds that provide direct funding for procedures to help pay for someone's abortion, and that's a super crucial aspect of accessing care, is being able to afford the procedure. But there are all these things surrounding the actual procedure that really affect whether or not someone's able to access the abortion care they need. So things like rides to and from the clinic. If you're coming in from out of town, do you have somewhere to stay? If you are a parent, which 60% of people who have abortions are parents, do you have someone who can watch your kids? Are you able to afford childcare if that's something that you need? These are all just some pieces of the puzzle when it comes to abortion access. And there are funds like Clinic Access Support Network, which are helping fill in those gaps for people's access.
Yeah, I think that a lot of those things that can be barriers for people is a really large part of why I started doing this work, because when I had my abortion, I didn't know about all of these different organizations and all of these different abortion funds that were helping people. So after my experience, that's been my main focus, is like community education and like community support so people know that these things are available.
So my vision for the future of abortion access is that, one, abortion funds aren't necessary because all public and private insurance covers abortion, period, because it's healthcare. And second of all, we don't need organizations like Jane's Due Process because we don't need to get judicial bypasses as minors who are getting abortions, because minors don't need to get their parents' consent to get abortion care. Parental notification laws are not a thing anymore. That's what I want for all young people, is abortion that is accessible, clinics that are in every city in town, and abortion that isn't stigmatized. People can go to their friends and family for support and not fear rejection or stigma.
If we're talking hypothetically how I would love to have the future for young folks, I would have them be free of stigma, free of this cultural implications that make us believe that we don't really have options. And as well as, like you guys said, education so that we can make uncoerced decisions about our body. I do think that we are changing that culture. I think that we are the beginning of this culture change, and I hope that it keeps growing, because I have seen people that have talked to me and tell me, you know, because you share your story or because of the things that you are doing, it makes me feel comfortable enough to come up and share my story with you. And I think that's how it starts. You get more people to share their story, you get more people involved, and hopefully eventually we dismantle the stigma around abortion.
To piggyback on what you said, I do see a big difference, because if it wasn't for the youth testify period, I think I wouldn't be able just to come out and say, hey, I had 3 abortions. And I'm not ashamed of that anymore, because having y'all around, it made me feel like we can like bring this world together. And I'm not even playing. I mean, if we keep on and bringing more people in and keeping doing the bad stuff we do, and saying, hey, you can't stop us from doing this. We know our rights. We know our health care. So I really agree with that, and I feel like we can make this world our world.
Yeah, I think that young people especially have a really hard time with stigma. Like, abortion as a whole is stigmatized, but abortion specifically surrounding young people is super stigmatized, and we seem to get overlooked primarily by politicians with like parental notification laws and judicial bypasses and like age restriction and all of these things. And I know that these things need to change, and we need to have a permanent seat at the table. But like, what would you guys, if there were a politician here with us, what would you guys say to them if they were asking you how should they view policy particularly about young people for abortion access?
I would tell them that when it comes to our bodies, our futures, and something as deeply personal and complex as starting a family or choosing to grow a family, we are the experts in our own lives. Like, we know our own situations because we're living it. And we don't need this outside authority assessing whether or not we are able to make that decision for ourselves.
Yeah, that point is so important. And I think a lot of the times, even in movement work, we make the mistake of thinking that youth are the future, and youth, we should just look to them in this later time. And that might be true, but youth are also the present, and they're right now. And I think Youth Testify is like a really, it speaks to that truth, that we're doing work. Everybody at this table is doing really important work in different parts of, you know, this country, this stolen land, and we're powerful.
Young people of color face a lot of challenges with their own identity, because an identity is layered. It is not just one thing. And with this layers of your identity comes intersectionality. Intersectionality with your religion, with your culture, with machismo, with your age, with your social status. So with these layered identities, with this intersectionality, there's strength, because you don't necessarily have to pick one of these issues. You could kind of participate in all of them, and that creates a stronger you with a very solidified identity and your rights.
Don't ever let anyone tell you how to feel about your own goddamn story. It's that's that on that. And it doesn't even make sense, because historically, all of these movements, like dating back to the civil rights movement, have been started by young people and led by young people, and we're the ones on the front lines doing this work. So to leave us out in this movement in this way, in such a large way, seems to just be a slap in the face, essentially. Especially for you, like, your whole life is like working in a clinic and like trying to help these people. Like, you are directly impacted by all of these policies, especially being in Mississippi. So
It is. It's hard, because when I first, let me start back. In the past, when I went to rallies with my mother, I really did look up to those people and said, hey, I had an abortion. What you gonna do about it? I really did look up to those people, and being in that shoes that at 15, at a young age, and seeing how people can judge you so quickly that don't know the situation. And people don't think about that at the end. And then we have, I'm not gonna even stop right there, we have people in the clinic that slickly judge youth too. I need people in the clinic that can say, hey, it's okay to have an abortion. We need people that can understand where you're coming from, even at a young age. You can be 13 and say, hey, it's okay. We're here for you. And that's what I can say about that.
Personally, the biggest thing just falls back to stigma. Like, I don't regret my abortion. I would do that shit again. I am always going to be happy about it. But on the other hand, when I had my abortion, I was 18 and everyone was telling me, oh, you're so young. You're so young. How can you make this decision? Well, if I'm so young, how am I raising a child?
Exactly.
So what advice would you have for young people that want to get involved in the movement and start doing these things?
First of all, I would say that even though this political climate can seem really fraught and intimidating, with all these older people with all these opinions, first of all, you are the expert when it comes to your own lived experience, right? You're the expert of what happened to you and what sort of issues affected your experience. That makes you an authority. So don't let people tell you that you're wrong about your own story.
I would say it's gonna be hard. I'm not even gonna play with y'all. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be some trials. You're gonna have some judgmental assholes out there. But it's gonna get easier, and you're gonna have some people behind you. You're gonna have a whole army behind you. Even if it's not in the same state, you're still gonna have support. It's gonna be easy. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a pain in the butt. But to me, if we keep on building and doing what's right, we all gonna come together. It's gonna work out.
Yeah, there's a real sense of community, especially in the reproductive justice movement, that I think a lot of young people are struggling to find because of the political climate and how polarized everything seems to be. It just is like warm and like comforting to know that there are other people out there doing this work and that care about us as young people. So my advice would just be to jump on in. The water's fine.
Yeah, I would say that you are already powerful. You already know so much, and that's valid information, valid life skills, valid life experiences, and your work in whichever movement you decide to join doesn't have to look like somebody else's work. You can do what you want to do and what you feel like is best and most true to you. And also, adults aren't always right, and that's right. Do what you need to do.
Retweet.
From personal experience, once you get involved in one way or another, whether it be through volunteering, through a clinic, through your own personal abortion, having whatever it may be, everything just kind of starts popping up, and you start to kind of break into this community of just immense support and immense training and everything. So don't feel like you need to know everything now, because you will pick it up along the way. And as Hilaria stated, you already have that information. Like Gina said, you are the master of your own story, of your own experiences. And just like to point again that, young people do have power, especially in a community, especially with all the support that we can bring to each other. And we deserve affordable, accessible, unstigmatized, safe abortions.
So we're just 5 people sitting around this table, but there are so many other experiences and so many other stories and thoughts and ideas that are out there. We would love to hear from any of the young people out in the world doing what you do. So let us know your thoughts on your vision for the future of abortion access.